Wait! Before you reach for that chemical spray, before you give up on your tomatoes because of aphids, before you let cucumber beetles destroy another season of hard work, stop! What if I told you there's one simple solution that stops 95% of garden pests without a single drop of pesticide? What if I told you this method actually increases your harvest while creating the healthiest vegetables you've ever grown? What if I told you professional organic farmers swear by this technique and it costs less than one bottle of expensive organic spray? I'm about to reveal the secret that transformed my pest-plagued vegetable garden into a thriving, chemical-free paradise that produces more food than I can eat. We're talking about insect netting, but not the way most gardeners think about it. I'm going to show you the exact techniques that commercial organic growers use to protect millions of dollars worth of crops, adapted perfectly for your backyard garden. This isn't just throwing some fabric over plants and hoping for the best. Hey garden warriors, welcome back to Daily Garden Fix. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into the most effective, chemical-free pest protection method that will revolutionize your vegetable garden forever. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to choose, install, and manage insect netting like a pro. Plus, I'll share the insider secrets that most gardeners never learn. Hit that subscribe button if you're ready to grow the healthiest, most productive vegetable garden of your life. And ring that notification bell because I'm dropping game-changing garden content every single week. Let's jump right in with the fundamentals that will change everything. Section 1. The science behind insect netting, why it works so well. Starting with the foundation, understanding why insect netting is the ultimate pest protection method, and this science will blow your mind. This isn't just about blocking bugs. We're talking about creating perfect growing microclimates that actually boost plant health and productivity. Here's the genius behind the technique. Quality insect netting creates a physical barrier that stops pests while allowing air, water, and light to pass through freely. But here's what most gardeners don't understand. It also moderates temperature, reduces wind stress, and creates optimal humidity levels for explosive plant growth. The mesh size is absolutely critical. I use 60 gram per square meter netting with 0.6 millimeter mesh, fine enough to stop thrips, aphids, and whiteflies, but open enough for excellent airflow and beneficial insect access when needed. Here's the professional secret. The netting actually creates a greenhouse effect that extends growing seasons while protecting from weather extremes. My netted crops grow 30% faster than unprotected plants because they're never stressed by environmental fluctuations. The light transmission through quality netting is 85 to 90%, which means plants get abundant light while being protected from scorching sun during heat waves. It's like natural climate control that works 24/7 without electricity. Research from agricultural universities proves that netted vegetables have higher vitamin content, better flavor, and longer storage life because they grow without pest damage stress. We're not just preventing problems, we're optimizing plant health. The pest exclusion rate is incredible. Studies show 95% reduction in insect damage when netting is properly installed and maintained. That's better protection than any spray can provide, with zero negative side effects on beneficial insects or soil health. Section 2. Choosing the right netting, the complete buyer's guide. Section 2 is your complete guide to selecting the perfect insect netting, because choosing wrong here ruins everything. There are dozens of options, and most gardeners buy the wrong type and wonder why it doesn't work. The mesh size determines what you'll exclude and what you'll allow through. For general vegetable protection, I recommend 0.6 millimeter mesh that stops most flying insects while allowing beneficial predators like spiders and ground beetles to move freely underneath. Here's the professional breakdown. 0.4 millimeter mesh for ultimate protection against thrips and tiny aphids, 0.6 millimeters for general vegetable crops, and 0.8 millimeters for larger plants that need maximum airflow but protection from bigger pests like cabbage moths and cucumber beetles. The material quality makes or breaks your success. I exclusively use UV-stabilized polyethylene netting that's rated for 4+ years of outdoor use. Cheap netting degrades in one season and becomes useless plastic waste. Weight matters more than most realize. 60-gram netting provides perfect balance between protection and plant growth. Lighter netting tears easily and moves too much in wind. Heavier netting restricts growth and reduces light transmission below optimal levels. Color selection affects both pest behavior and plant growth. I use white netting for heat-sensitive crops, clear for maximum light transmission, and green for aesthetic integration into garden landscapes. Never use black netting. It absorbs heat and can cook your plants. Here's the insider buying tip. Purchase netting that's 20% larger than your growing area. This extra material is essential for proper installation techniques that I'll show you, plus it gives you repair material for unexpected damage. The investment pays itself immediately. Quality 10 by 20 foot netting costs $40 to $60 that saves hundreds in crop losses and eliminates ongoing pesticide costs. It's the smartest money you'll spend in your garden.
Section 3. Installation Mastery. The professional techniques. Section 3 reveals the professional installation techniques that separate successful netting from total failure. Most gardeners just drape netting over plants and wonder why pests still get in. I'm about to show you the exact methods commercial growers use. The foundation is everything. Proper ground preparation and edge sealing determines success or failure. I create a 6-inch border around the entire growing area, then bury netting edges 4 inches deep to create impenetrable pest barriers. Here's the professional framework system. I install hoops every 4 feet using 10-foot lengths of PVC pipe or EMT conduit, creating tunnels that keep netting off plants while providing structural support that handles wind and weather. The height calculation is crucial. I make tunnels at least 18 inches taller than mature plant height to prevent netting contact that creates pest bridges and restricts growth. Most gardeners build too low and sabotage their own success. Here's the genius tensioning technique. I use bungee cords and clips specifically designed for greenhouse applications to maintain proper netting tension without creating stress points that tear. Hardware store solutions fail. Use professional horticultural supplies. The entry system makes or breaks daily garden management. I install zippered doors or overlap sections secured with clips, creating convenient access points that maintain pest exclusion when properly managed. For permanent installations, I create removable panels that can be lifted for harvesting, maintenance, or beneficial insect access when needed. This flexibility is essential for season-long success with crops that need periodic pollinator access. The weather anchoring is critical in my area. I use ground anchors and guy wires rated for 40+ mph winds. Netting that blows away is useless netting, so engineer your installation for your local weather extremes. Section 4. Crop-specific strategies, customized protection plans. Section 4 breaks down crop-specific netting strategies because different vegetables need completely different approaches. This is where most gardeners fail, using one-size-fits-all methods instead of customized protection for optimal results. For brassicas like cabbage, broccoli, and kale, I install netting immediately after transplanting and leave it in place all season. These crops don't need pollinator access, so continuous protection gives perfect results without pest damage. Here's the tomato technique. I net young plants until first flowers appear, then remove netting during peak bloom for pollination, then reinstall for fruit protection. This prevents early pest damage while ensuring proper fruit set. Cucumbers and squash need special handling because of their pollination requirements. I use removable netting that goes on at night when pests are active, then comes off during morning peak pollinator activity. It's more work, but gives perfect results. For leafy greens like lettuce and spinach, I use lightweight floating row covers instead of structural netting. The fabric rests directly on plants, moving up as they grow while providing protection from flea beetles and leaf miners. Root vegetables like carrots and beets get ground-level netting to stop carrot flies and other soil-dwelling pests. I create low tunnels that protect foliage while allowing easy access for thinning and harvesting. Here's the succession planting strategy. I maintain permanent netting structures and plant new crops every 2 to 3 weeks underneath. This creates continuous harvests while maintaining pest protection without constant setup and tear down. The companion planting integration is brilliant. I plant trap crops outside netted areas to draw pests away and beneficial insect plants nearby to support predators that control any pests that do get through the barriers. Section 5. Seasonal Management. Year-round protection strategies. Section 5 covers seasonal netting management that maximizes protection while supporting plant health through changing growing conditions. This is advanced technique that transforms good gardeners into great ones. Spring installation timing is critical. I install netting 2 weeks before typical pest emergence, which varies by location and pest species. Early installation prevents establishment rather than trying to control existing infestations. Here's the temperature management secret. I use adjustable side panels that can be opened during hot days and closed during cool nights, maintaining optimal growing conditions while preserving pest protection. The summer ventilation strategy prevents overheating that kills plants faster than any pest. I install automatic vent openers that respond to temperature changes, maintaining perfect growing conditions without daily management. For fall protection, I extend growing seasons by 6 to 8 weeks using netting as frost protection combined with pest exclusion. Row covers over netting create double protection that keeps plants growing through early winter. Here's the winter preparation technique. I completely remove and clean all netting, inspect for damage, make repairs, and store properly to ensure maximum lifespan. Proper storage doubles netting life compared to leaving it exposed to winter weather. The cleaning protocol is essential. I wash netting with mild soap solution, rinse thoroughly, and dry completely before storage. This removes pest eggs, disease spores, and environmental contaminants that could cause problems next season. Rotation strategy prevents pest adaptation. I move netting to different garden areas each season, breaking pest cycles while maintaining protection effectiveness. Pests that adapt to one location start over in new areas. Section 6. Pollination Solutions. Managing beneficial insects. Section 6 solves the biggest challenge with insect netting, managing pollination needs while maintaining pest protection. This is where most gardeners give up, but I'll show you professional solutions that work perfectly. The timing method works for crops with concentrated flowering periods. I remove netting during peak bloom, which is usually 2 to 3 weeks, then reinstall for fruit development protection. This gives excellent pollination while preventing fruit damage. Here's the selective access technique. I create small, manageable openings during morning hours when beneficial insects are most active, then close them during evening and nighttime when pest activity peaks. Here's the hand pollination backup, ensures crop success even under complete netting. I use small brushes to transfer pollen between flowers. It takes 10 minutes every other day and guarantees fruit set regardless of insect activity. For crops needing continuous pollination, like cucumbers, I introduce beneficial insects under netting. I purchase predatory mites and beneficial beetles that control pests while allowing flowers to be pollinated naturally. Here's the companion strategy. I plant pollinator-attracting flowers around netted areas to concentrate beneficial insects nearby, then provide temporary access during optimal pollination windows. The mason bee technique is brilliant for early-season pollination. These gentle bees work in cool weather when honeybees are inactive, and they're small enough to work under loose netting configurations. Double netting systems provide ultimate flexibility. Coarse outer netting stops large pests, while fine inner netting can be temporarily removed for pollination access without losing basic protection from major pest species.
Section 7. Common Mistakes and Solutions. Avoiding Failure. Section 7 prevents the costly mistakes that sabotage most netting projects. I've seen every possible error, and I'll show you how to avoid them while achieving professional results from day one. The biggest mistake is inadequate ground sealing. Leaving even tiny gaps lets pests enter and multiply under perfect growing conditions. I see gardeners with perfect netting installations that fail because of poor ground preparation. Here's the tension error that ruins everything. Too tight netting tears in wind. Too loose netting flaps and damages plants. I maintain just enough tension to prevent flapping while allowing slight movement that prevents stress concentration. The height mistake kills more plants than pests. Netting touching foliage creates pest bridges and restricts growth. Always provide more clearance than you think you need, especially for vigorous crops like tomatoes and squash. Material selection failures waste money and effort. Sheep netting degrades quickly and becomes environmental pollution. Invest in quality materials once rather than replacing inferior products annually.
Here's the maintenance neglect that destroys results. Ignoring small tears and damage allows pest entry that defeats the entire system. I inspect netting weekly and repair immediately using appropriate patches and techniques. The timing errors cause crop losses. Installing too late allows pest establishment. Removing too early exposes plants to peak pest pressure. Learn pest life cycles in your area and time netting management accordingly. Ventilation mistakes cause plant death from overheating. Inadequate ventilation is essential even under netting. I ensure cross-ventilation while maintaining pest exclusion through proper design and management. Section 8. Advanced Techniques, Professional-Level Methods. Section 8 reveals advanced techniques that create professional-level results in home gardens. These methods are used by commercial organic growers and adapted for backyard success. The double barrier system provides ultimate protection for high-value crops. I use coarse netting to stop large pests, then fine netting underneath for small pest exclusion, creating impenetrable protection without restricting plant growth. Here's the integrated pest management approach. I combine netting with beneficial insect releases, trap crops, and natural predators to create complete pest control systems that work better than any single method. The microclimate optimization technique uses netting to create perfect growing conditions. I adjust mesh density, height, and ventilation to optimize temperature, humidity, and airflow for specific crop requirements. For greenhouse integration, I use netting as seasonal transition protection. Plants start under netting outdoors, move to greenhouse for winter, then return to netting for spring growth, creating year-round production systems. Here's the automation integration. I use timer-controlled ventilation fans and automatic vent openers to maintain optimal conditions under netting without daily management, creating set-and-forget protection systems. The modular design approach creates flexible systems that adapt to changing needs, removable panels, adjustable heights, and reconfigurable layouts that grow and change with garden evolution and crop rotation needs. Professional monitoring systems track temperature, humidity, and pest pressure under netting, allowing data-driven management decisions that optimize protection while maximizing plant health and productivity. Section 9. Troubleshooting Guide, Solving Common Problems. Section 9 solves the problems that frustrate gardeners trying to use insect netting successfully. These solutions come from years of experience helping gardeners overcome obstacles and achieve consistent success. When pests still appear under netting, the problem is always installation gaps or timing errors. I systematically inspect ground seals, repair any tears, and verify that netting was installed before pest emergence. Here's the overheating solution. Inadequate ventilation kills more plants than pests. I add side vents, install circulation fans, or switch to lighter-colored netting that reflects heat while maintaining pest protection. For plants touching netting, the fix is immediate height adjustment. I raise support structures or add intermediate supports to maintain proper clearance. Contact points become pest highways and growth restriction zones. Pollination failures require systematic solutions. I identify flowering patterns, create access schedules, or implement hand pollination backup systems. Never sacrifice harvest to maintain protection that isn't needed during bloom periods. Here's the wind damage prevention. Inadequate anchoring destroys netting systems. I upgrade anchor systems, add guy wires, or install windbreaks that protect netting without creating pest harborage areas. Maintenance scheduling prevents small problems from becoming major failures. I inspect weekly during growing season, monthly during dormant periods, and immediately after severe weather events. The cleaning protocol extends netting life and prevents disease transmission. I wash with bleach solution, rinse thoroughly, and dry completely before storage or reinstallation on different crops.
Section 10. Cost-benefit analysis. The financial advantages. Section 10 proves that insect netting pays for itself immediately while providing ongoing financial benefits that make it the smartest garden investment you can make. The numbers will shock you. Initial investment breakdown. Quality 10 by 20 foot netting system costs $60 to $80, including support materials. This protects 200 square feet of vegetables for 4+ years, working out to less than $5 per year per 100 square feet of protection. Here's the crop loss prevention value. Unprotected gardens typically lose 30 to 50% of harvest to pest damage. On a $200 annual vegetable garden, that's $60 to $100 in lost produce prevented by one netting installation. The pesticide replacement savings are dramatic. Organic pest control products cost $50 to $100 annually for equivalent protection, with ongoing health and environmental costs that netting completely eliminates. Harvest quality improvements increase value significantly. Netted vegetables have no pest damage, better appearance, longer storage life, and higher nutritional value. Premium produce quality from your own garden. Here's the time savings calculation. Netting eliminates hours of weekly pest monitoring, spraying, and damage assessment. The time saved is worth hundreds of dollars annually in labor value. The health benefits are priceless, eliminating pesticide exposure for your family while producing the cleanest, healthiest vegetables possible. No chemical residues, no environmental contamination, just pure food. Extended growing seasons multiply returns. Netting provides frost protection that adds 6 to 8 weeks of harvest time, essentially doubling annual garden productivity in many climates. Section 11. Creative Applications. Beyond Basic Pest Control. Section 11 explores creative netting applications that solve multiple garden challenges simultaneously. These techniques maximize your investment while creating beautiful, functional garden features. The aesthetic integration approach uses netting as garden architecture. I create beautiful tunnel structures that provide pest protection, while adding visual interest and vertical growing space for climbing crops. Here's the wildlife exclusion technique. The same netting that stops insects also prevents bird damage, rabbit intrusion, and deer browsing. One installation solves multiple pest categories with elegant efficiency. The microclimate creation method uses netting to establish perfect growing conditions for challenging crops. I create warm zones for heat-loving plants and cool zones for cold-season vegetables using strategic netting placement. For water management, I integrate netting with irrigation systems. The protection allows more efficient watering while preventing evaporation losses and creating optimal humidity levels for plant health. Here's the season extension brilliance. I combine netting with row covers to create 4-season growing systems that produce fresh vegetables year-round, even in harsh climates that normally shut down gardens. The vertical growing integration uses netting structures to support climbing plants while providing pest protection. Beans, peas, and cucumbers thrive in these protected vertical systems. Seed starting protection gives 100% germination rates. I cover newly planted areas with fine netting that prevents pest damage while seeds establish, then upgrade to standard protection as plants develop. Section 12. Maintenance and Longevity. Maximizing your investment. Section 12 ensures your netting investment lasts for years while maintaining peak performance. Proper maintenance doubles or triples netting lifespan while ensuring consistent pest protection. The inspection schedule prevents minor damage from becoming major failures. I check netting weekly during growing season for tears, loose attachments, or pest entry points, addressing problems immediately before they compromise protection. Here's the repair technique that saves money. I use patches cut from spare netting, secured with UV-resistant thread or specialized tape designed for greenhouse applications. Proper repairs are invisible and permanent. The cleaning protocol extends netting life dramatically. I wash netting annually with mild soap solution to remove debris, pest eggs, and environmental contaminants that accelerate material degradation. Storage procedures prevent off-season damage that shortens netting life. I fold netting loosely, store in dry locations away from rodents, and avoid creating permanent creases that become failure points. Here's the rotation strategy that prevents pest adaptation. I move netting installations to different garden areas each season, breaking pest life cycles while preventing material wear patterns that concentrate stress. The upgrade timing maximizes value. I replace netting when tear frequency increases or UV degradation becomes visible, typically after 4 to 5 years of intensive use or 6 to 7 years of seasonal use. Documentation tracking helps optimize replacement timing and reveals which netting brands and installation methods provide best longevity in your specific growing conditions.
There you have it, the complete professional guide to transforming your vegetable garden using insect netting. From understanding the science to mastering installation.
From seasonal management to advanced techniques, you now have everything needed to create pest-free, productive gardens that rival commercial organic operations. The best part? You can start implementing these techniques immediately with materials available at any garden center. Choose quality netting appropriate for your crops, install using professional techniques, and maintain properly for years of outstanding results. I want to see your netting success stories. Share photos of your installations and results in the comments below, and don't forget to tell me which crops you're most excited to protect. I read every comment and love seeing how these techniques transform gardens around the world. If this video helped you solve pest problems and grow better vegetables, please give it a thumbs up and share it with fellow gardeners who could benefit from chemical-free pest protection. Your support helps me continue creating content that proves healthy gardening is possible for everyone. Subscribe and hit that notification bell, because next week I'm sharing the ultimate guide to building raised beds that eliminate weeding forever. Techniques that will save you hours of maintenance while growing the most productive gardens imaginable. Trust me, raised bed method number 7 will completely change how you think about garden construction. Remember, the healthiest vegetables come from gardens that work with nature rather than against it. Insect netting lets you protect your harvest while supporting beneficial insects, building soil health, and creating sustainable growing systems that get better every year. Your pest-free garden paradise is waiting. Start with one small netting installation and watch how it transforms not just your harvest, but your entire relationship with gardening. This is Daily Garden Fix, and I'll see you growing amazing vegetables.